All right, so Eric and I are doing a different kind of game preview this week. We are collabing with a 49ers YouTube creator. His YouTube handle is Last Second Sports. We're going to talk Jags, Niners, who's going to win, who's going to play well. Are we scared of the Niners? Are we scared of the Niners fans that's going to be invading our stadium? I'm sure we talk about all of that. And bye week, both teams coming off the bye week. Does playing at 10 a.m. even hurt the Niners? I have a take on that. So here's our conversation with him.
Finally, the 49ers have a game this Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But listen, this is not the Jaguars that you are used to seeing. This is a very, very good Jaguar team. This is a game I'm extremely excited about. Cannot wait to talk about it with these two gentlemen. It is a behind enemy lines Jacksonville Jaguar style. We're going to talk about the game, the matchups, everything that goes into it, and we're going to do it all next. All right, welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. And as I said, it's a behind enemy line special edition. I got a crew of two, Dunn and Drew, with me. Fellas, how are you doing this evening?
Great. Hey, we're doing good, man. We are excited to get another game because we just had a bye, as did you.
You know, it's one of those things that when the schedule came out, you started looking at all the travel that the 49ers have. And this is not unique to San Francisco. A lot of teams have crazy travel this year, but the 49ers play a ton of teams coming off of bye, including Jacksonville.
Wow.
We thought that, hey, maybe this would be the advantage for them, even off of a bye. Didn't you guys play a Thursday night game going into the bye, or am I tripping?
Yeah. So we've had quite a. Well, no, sorry, we played the Steelers before our bye week.
Yeah, but that was a Thursday night game, no?
No, it was a Sunday.
Was it a Sunday? Okay, all right.
We had a Thursday night before that game.
Okay, all right. That I was gonna say, even off the bye, we can't take a damn break.
We earned this bye though. The travel we've been doing, London 2 games, the short Colts at home, short week to Saints Thursday night, then the Pittsburgh. Yeah, we earned that bye.
Yeah, we needed it bad, especially with all the injuries that we've been racking up as well.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you talked about injuries because the 49ers have had injuries as well. That's actually the second topic that I have here. But let's get into the first thing here, which was season expectations. I'll tell you, as 49er fans, the expectations going into the season is exactly what they've been really since 2019, which is Super Bowl or bust. Especially now, guys, this season for the 49ers is so important because there's a lot of players that are on contracts that are big. Maybe they decide to move on from some of these guys. Some of these guys are aging. I feel like it's the utmost importance for the 49ers to try to win a Super Bowl this year specifically. So it was a Super Bowl or bust year. The Jacksonville Jaguars last year made a major run, had the hell of a comeback win against the Chargers in the playoffs. And here they are, the hottest team in the NFL. But going into the season, and maybe you guys had different expectations, but what were your expectations for this team when the season started?
I think I may have said 11 wins. So we were definitely riding high off of that playoff run. And we were the hottest team, I guess, going into the playoffs last year, having won 7 in a row, maybe 8 in a row. 8 in a row, maybe if you include the Chargers win. We were definitely expected. Now, a lot of people within our division, like the Titans fans, they were pushing back on us saying, you guys just crept into the playoffs. You snuck in. You had to beat Dobbs, our backup quarterback, in the last second to beat us, to kick us out of the playoffs. And I'm like, you can't just take that. We had strung together so many wins leading up to that. This is a different team than we were in the beginning of last season. And we're carrying over that momentum, complete culture change. And Trevor Lawrence is his team. So I think we're meeting our expectations. We're just winning games that I think we didn't necessarily pick us to win. We got to 6-2 in a way that we probably didn't expect to get to 6-2. Probably much like yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think I predicted us to be 13-4, and because we did it, we actually went through the whole schedule when it came out. We do that every year, and we were going through every game, and I confidently said 13-4. So to actually see that we're on that path to that record is kind of crazy to me because of who we've been in the past 2 decades. But my expectations were very high after that last season, especially coming into the second year with Doug Peterson's system, another year with Trevor, all the guys in the locker room very familiar with each other. So I thought it would be a very good year for us. And so far it has been. And now we have a bye week that just happened. And we have a second half of the season that's pretty tough compared to, I mean, the teams on the schedule are tough. I think first half of the year, it was the traveling and all of that was harder than the schedule. But the second half, we have a pretty tough schedule with a lot of AFC North teams. And that's looking like the best division in the NFL right now. So very happy where we're at, obviously. But I know a lot more to come. But so far, so good.
I'm going to be curious to watch those AFC North games for y'all. I mean, you're right. The Ravens, the Browns are good. The Steelers have been pretty decent. The Bengals, that's going to be a fun battles to watch.
Yeah, two of those are in primetime too.
Yeah,
which we don't get a lot. Primetime games at home.
Yeah. I have to say this, and I said it earlier or late last week, but I low key was every person like has their team, right? And then usually, I think if you're a fan of a team, you can't have two teams. You can have what you root for. But Jacksonville was like low key a team that I liked back in the day because of Mark Brunell. I was such a Steve Young fan that Mark Brunell was like the poor man Steve Young, although I feel awful even saying that because he was a hell of a quarterback himself. Yeah. But I loved watching Mark Brunell play. So I always rooted back then for the Jags a little bit because of Mark Brunell.
That's kind of a problem that we have here in Jacksonville. There's a lot of people that do have 2 NFL teams because we're kind of new in 1995. So a lot of people that already lived in Florida, they already had their NFL team. So that's why when you go to, and your fans a lot, you guys flood our stadium out with the red. A lot of Niners fans. And we were talking about this on our show. We're like, we don't see you guys in your merch anywhere in Florida. How do you guys just show up to all of these stadiums? You guys travel so well, but I never see anybody in a Niners hat, a Niners jersey. Like, where do you guys come from? That's what we want to know.
We come from everywhere. It's not just Jacksonville. It is literally every stadium. Even the Cowboys playoff game, and we know Cowboys, like that's a big, like, they have a good home presence. We took over their stadium. I went to Pittsburgh week 1, and they couldn't believe how many 49er fans that came to that game. They're like, we've never ever been taken over like this. This is insane. And they were very nice. I mean, it was very respectable, but they were in shock at how many 49er fans were at that game.
Is it an organized effort, or is it just there's so many that, that's just how many show up? There's
definitely some organization to it. They always do like they always have like activities or get-togethers for away games. So a lot of people there's like a takeover on Friday night that everybody goes to, that type of thing. But outside of that, no, I mean, it's just how many Niner fans you can get to show up. Really what made me realize it, I knew that the 49ers traveled well, but in 2019 when they beat the Saints and then they marched down like whatever the main street is in New Orleans. And Bourbon Street. And like the next day, and we're marching down that thing with their flags. I was like, okay, this is different. This is a different deal.
Wow.
Yeah, we did that Thursday Night Football. It was a great experience.
Yeah, I bet it was. Well, earlier, you guys were talking about health when this whole thing started. And the 49ers have been banged up as well. Deebo Samuel seems to be on his way back. Trent Williams also seems to be on his way back. Really, the 49ers overall have gotten healthy throughout the bye week. Is that the same story for the Jaguars? Who's going to be potentially missing this game? Who was hurt that's coming back? What is the health of the team looking like coming out of this bye week?
So we've missed our number 1 corner and safe. So our 2 top defensive backs we've missed for the last couple of weeks, Andre Sisco and Tyson Campbell. Tyson Campbell, why is it so weird? Tyson
Campbell.
So haven't called his name in a while. That's why. I think they're going to be clear because they could have probably played versus Pittsburgh, but they just want to be a little careful. So I think we'll get them back for this game. And and Zay Jones, probably our number one red zone target, is still he might even go on IR. He's been a week to week with a knee injury since week 3 or 4, week 4.
Yeah, he played in the Bengals game and then re-injured his knee. So
the
Bills game and then re-injured his knee. So we're going to be without him, and he's, to me, I think, like one of the most important factors on the offense. Very underrated guy, but he makes all the big plays that we need, down the field, and definitely spreads the offense out more. So he's been missed tremendously in the offense, and we've missed a lot of guys on the offensive line. Cooper Hodges hasn't played all year. He was one of our draft picks who was, the reporters here were saying he's having a really good camp. So people are looking forward to him on the line, but we're not going to have him. But we went out and got Ezra Cleveland. So we'll have some depth on the O-line there. And our defensive line is starting to come back as well. So that's why I was saying we needed this bye week, because we've had this gauntlet of a travel schedule, and now people are getting healthy and we have a second half to attack.
We have been lucky, though, with who we haven't had. So we have basically right now, or the first half of the season, we've had one effective pass rusher, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He hasn't gotten injured, thank goodness. Our number one player on offense, Travis Etienne, he stayed healthy relatively, and Trevor Lawrence has stayed healthy. So our main players that we need to stay healthy all season have been healthy. So we've been lucky there. But you guys losing Debo, I'm sure that as we've seen the last few weeks has hurt. What about your injuries?
Debo and Trent Williams being out was massive for the 49ers the last couple weeks. And even CMC was there, but he was banged up. So I think the bye week is coming at the perfect time for the 49ers as well. Defensively, one of our linebackers, Dre Greenlaw, he missed a game. Missed the Browns game, I believe. Then he came back, but he didn't seem right either. It's like he was out there, but maybe he shouldn't have been. So it seems like everybody coming out of the bye week is healthy. So I think the 49ers are going to be the healthiest they've been really since week 1, which is definitely much needed. Yeah. So the 49ers are ready to go. It sounds like for the most part, though, that Jacksonville also is ready to go. Maybe, a nicked up player here or there. Speaking of edge rushers, though, and this wasn't on the topics, but I did see the 49ers and the Jaguars actually called about Brian Burns. How great would that have been for you guys to go get him? That would have been crazy.
I saw we also reached out for Chase Young. That would have been nice as well. We needed anything in the pass rush department, and I don't know why no one we reached out to worked, because I believe we also called about Daniil Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember his name right now, but
Josh
Uche, with the Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots.
So seeing that we reached out to all these teams, Trent Baalke, who you guys know well,
we do,
knows at least that we have pass rush concerns, but it does worry me that we weren't able to close on any of those guys. So we're rolling with the people that are coming back, getting healthy. We have a pass rusher who's comes in every now and then, maybe on pass rushing specific downs. Smoot was his first name.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne.
Yeah.
Wow. Dwayne Smoot. He's getting healthy, and he should be hopefully back to normal. I think he played in the Pittsburgh game, but didn't have too much of an impact. But he'll be back for this game, so he's some help in the pass rush department, and just preying on Trayvon Walker's development.
Yeah, Trayvon Walker's got, I think, 4 sacks this season, maybe 3.5, and they've, from what I've seen, a lot of them have just been like the quarterback kind of falls into him and it's a sack. So we've been extremely lucky to be 6-2 with having a minimal pass rush, because even the games that I'm watching, every single quarterback that we play has so much time to throw in the pocket on a lot of these drives. So that's a reason why we do give up, leads that we have. So it's going to be an ongoing issue all season. That's why I'm a little nervous for the second half portion of it. We got Myles Garrett coming up, the Ravens defense.
Nick Bosa and Chase Young, and I don't even know. You guys have so many pass rushers, I don't even know them all.
Yeah, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead. Yeah, the line is stout. The line is stout. But
tough.
But the one counter to the 49ers, and the reason the 49ers haven't gotten home a lot this year, and the big reason for that is teams have figured out quick passing game. And that is something that Lawrence can definitely execute on. So
that's basically what he did all the whole Saints game when he was like, is he going to play because his knee was injured?
Yeah.
And the offensive line, he didn't get touched that whole game, and it was all quick passes. So we have been practicing the whole first part of the season with those quick passes because our offensive line has been so suspect. But the offensive line is getting healthier and a little bit better, and I think that he could use that definitely to the advantage. I was going to say back to our defense. It amazes me that with such we have maybe 12 sacks in the season. I think the most team Ravens with the most has 34 or something, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
With that, we are leading the league in takeaways, which is
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm about to look this up.
Crazy.
Especially because your secondary has been banged up as well. I actually had this as a topic, but it's flowing so well. Let's just continue to talk about the defense. What is it? If the pass rush isn't there, let's go through all the levels. So we know that the pass rush, maybe the front four by themselves is not great. Do you guys, are you a good blitzing team? How are the linebackers? Tell me about the secondary. Just walk me through the defense, because that is something that I'm not aware of when it comes to Jacksonville. We look at Jacksonville and we say, okay, Etienne, one of the best running backs in the league. Trevor Lawrence coming into his own, probably a top 7-ish quarterback at this point in the league. You've got multiple good receivers, a good tight end. The offensive line is but you guys, not bad at all. There's some names there, Brandon Scherf, what have you. So the offense we know. What about this defense? So tell me, just walk me through level by level. What are we looking at over there?
Well, I think we have one of, if not the most underrated linebacker in the NFL in Foye Oluokun. That man's a freak on the field. He's led the NFL in tackles back-to-back seasons.
Dude,
he might do it again. He's second in the league now.
Hold on, because I looked this up. This had to have been right before the season started. I forget what the conversation I was having with a friend. We were talking about tackles and the importance of tackles, and I looked up the leading tackler in the NFL, which was him. I could not believe how he had 50 more tackles than the second best guy in the league. It was insane.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, he's on pace to do it for a third straight year. So it's crazy. I say he's underrated, and it's true because I didn't even know him before we got him. We got him in free agency from the Falcons. And I was like, who is this? And he led the league in tackles. I was like, okay, I'll take him. So, yeah, that man's all over the field. And our defense just preached takeaways in the offseason, and they're doing it. And Devin Lloyd has been pretty good this year as well. He's another one of our linebackers.
Did you see that apparently our defensive coordinator texts the players at random times, even at 5 a.m. in the morning, think takeaways? Just
Really?
will randomly text the players.
Culture different here.
Yeah. Yeah, but Devin Lloyd too, that's our rookie that we took in the first round a couple of drafts ago. He's made a major improvement. So they're big reasons why the zone defense in the passing game works so well, but they're also great against the run, and the front is great against the run. This is one of the best run stopping teams that I've seen us have in a long time, and that just forces the other team to pass a lot. So, and we've actually had leads this season. So I think that's helped us have opportunities for takeaways. And he mentioned most underrated linebacker. We probably have right now the most underrated corner too. Well, maybe two of them. Darius Williams, who we took from the the Rams. He was their slot corner in their Super Bowl team. So we took him. He tried to play slot here. Then last season, we had to do this because of an injury, moved him to the outside, and he just improved so much. And now he may be Pro Football Focus's number one ranked corner right now. And his ball skills are crazy. He's the corner play. Tyson Campbell is supposed to be our number one corner, but right now Darius Williams is playing like it. They're both great corners on the outside. And then our safeties are ball hawks, and they got swagger. Yeah, I don't know if you saw us waving the terrible towels on the field
Yeah.
after we got an interception. Yeah, our defense is playing with a lot of swagger right now.
Huge highlight for me from Darius Williams is that London game where he ripped the ball out of Stephon Diggs' hand on that long, deep ball from Josh Allen.
I remember. Yes.
Yeah, him and Andre Cisco have 3 interceptions. Both have 3 interceptions on the year. So that's it's like tied for 3rd in the league right now. So got two guys leading the league in interceptions, or up there at least.
So the pass rush may not be a major strength, but it sounds like everything else is. You got great tackling, good run defense. The line is good against the run, great run defense, good tackling, taking the ball away in the secondary. I know a lot of the names that you mentioned, I remember just a couple years coming out of the draft. So a young secondary, which I think athleticism in secondary especially is so crucial. And that's kind of what's given the 49ers offense a little bit of trouble the last few weeks. Not a lot of big names in the secondaries they've been playing outside of Cleveland, but young, up-and-coming athletic secondaries, which it sounds like that's exactly what Jacksonville brings to the table. So I think this matchup is going to be really, really fun and interesting.
I think so, too, because you guys lean on Christian McCaffrey a lot, and we've got that run defense that is really hard to run on us. So I'm looking forward to seeing if we can stop Christian McCaffrey's streak of touchdowns. Maybe he gets a passing one, but as long as it's not a rushing one, I'll be happy if we have a lead and he scores, but whatever. But if we can force Purdy to throw the ball, I think we'll be in good shape against you guys.
Well, it's supposed to rain potentially too, which doesn't bode well for Brock Purdy. I looked at the forecast; it was like a 60% chance of rain or something like that.
Really?
We'll see.
Wow,
it's Florida.
Okay.
I mean, you know how it is this time of year. It could rain at any time. But also it could be raining just outside the stadium and not rain in the stadium. So who knows?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and funny, earlier in the week I saw 75 degrees as the high. Right now it's 69. That's beautiful. And look, cloud coverage, that's perfect tailgating. Perfect tailgating weather.
We've only had 3 home games so far here, and 2 of them were like excruciatingly hot games. I don't even know that's a word, but it was unbearable. And we watched 2 L's in the heat. So we love when these fall games come along because like we get to wake up to colder weather. We get to tailgate with hoodies on. It's a much more enjoyable football Sunday when it's cool.
It's so I know that Jacksonville seems to be the team that always goes to London. There's no risk anymore of losing the team, is there, or is that still conversation potentially?
So Shad Khan's trying his best to make it not a conversation. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too. So they don't want it to be a conversation, but they also want to go to London at least once a year, at most once a year. Hopefully, they tried to go twice a year, but then COVID stopped them. They want to go to London once a year for the money. But they also want there not to be conversation about the team moving to London. And Shad Khan's making true on his word because they have proposed a new stadium for us, which will come by 2028 or whatever. I don't know if you saw the renderings, but it's pretty much the next stadium. You know, every stadium that comes out is like crazier than the next one or the last one. But this one pretty much looks like SoFi. So I think once that stadium gets approved and built here, I think people will stop talking because obviously so much money from Shad, the city, will be poured into the Jacksonville Jaguars stadium here. I just don't see why those talks would continue. But no, I would say no, there's not a chance of the team moving to London.
No.
Well, that's good. That's good. I don't think anybody wants to see an NFL team in London.
No, I don't think anyone wants. I love the 9 a.m. games, but I don't think anyone cares that these games are being exported over to Europe.
No, it's such a pain in the ass, man. I mean, the travel is out of control. It's between that, the Thursday games, the extra game, it's too much. Yeah. It's way too much. And you're seeing it. I mean, you're seeing these teams. I talked about the 49ers was complaining about their travel. Obviously, Jacksonville had their own, but we just had a game in Germany this last week. I mean, how much travel, and we're not seeing a better product because of it. We're seeing more injuries, and it's just too much. It's way too
like
much.
the Chiefs Dolphins game should have been 42-40, and it was 21-0 at halftime. Like
Exactly. So
these players don't even want to travel over there.
Yeah, can you imagine convincing a player to sign for a London team if there was a London team over there in free
not
agency?
a chance. Not a chance.
You'd have to pay so much more.
Traveling back to the United States 8 times a year, no, it's just not going to work. Frank Tom Ocean says these shows are fire. I thank everyone. Go 49ers. Appreciate you, Frank Tom Ocean. Official B&A Music says the 49ers are all elite.
Wrestling fan?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
AEW shout out.
He always throws a bunch of random stuff out there. Corey Hyde says, do you think Kyle and John being extended earlier in the season made them more hesitant to dish out early round picks for a cornerback at the trade deadline? They know they will be around to use those picks. Well, I don't mind that they didn't. I mean, at some point, you can't just get rid of every pick you have. Yes, they should go all in to win this year, but there is a fine line in mortgaging the future as well. There's a lot of good players that aren't going to be here in 2 years, in my opinion. And because of that, they have to restock the cupboard somehow. And you got to do that through the draft.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
Gammon says, pick one player from the opposite offense and defense to add to your team and why. Bonus question. Do you wear fake Shad Khan mustaches on game days?
No.
He said no.
Not anymore. When he bought the team, there were a lot of those. But we're used to it by now.
All right. One on offense, one on deep. Well, offense, I mean, this is obvious. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is we don't know for sure what we have in Purdy. We know that Trevor Lawrence is on his way to being a star quarterback. So I would take Trevor Lawrence on the offense and defense. Whoever your top corner is, whoever you say that is, I'm going to believe you, and I'm going to take that guy.
Oh, I was going to ask, speaking of secondary, how's Tashawn Gibson doing? I'm amazed to see that he's playing on one of the best defenses in the league still, because he was on our Saxonville team back in 2017.
Yep.
Do you guys complain about him at all? Is he doing good?
No, man. I mean, last year he had a ton of picks. He was a ball hawk, arguably his best year since his Pro Bowl year with the Bears. Still a good player, but right now, I mean, the secondary overall is struggling a little bit. The defense is actually, believe it or not, the defense for the amount of good players that are on this team, a new defensive coordinator, they just haven't fully put it all together yet. So I think the bye week's going to be interesting. Can they finally click? Can they put it all together? He hasn't been bad by any means, but he hasn't been the ball hawk this year that he was last year. But the defense as a whole just hasn't been forcing the turnovers at the rate that they did last year either.
That's good news.
Yeah, it is good news for you. Yes, it is. It is. We'll see what Chase Young brings.
To answer his question,
yeah,
I was thinking about it for a little bit. For offense, I'm probably taking Trent Williams.
Smart. Okay, I like it.
I'm pretty satisfied with our receiving core. I'm satisfied with ETN. I bet a lot of people would say Christian McCaffrey, but I'm fine keeping ETN.
Yeah.
Kind of the same player. Receiving back, can run all over the field, gets 20 plus carries a game. I'm good with him. We need some offensive line help though. And then on defense, I'd probably take Chase Young back from you.
Chase Young, Bosa, any of them you would take, I'm sure. Yeah.
Just pick one blindly.
I was thinking like Fred Warner, he's just so good. But if I'm trying to max out our defense right now, I think the missing piece would be Nick Bosa. But Fred Warner would be so hard to pass up. Mm-hmm. But I think if I'm just looking at our defense and the missing piece that I think could put us over the edge, I think the gap between our pass rusher opposite Josh Allen and Nick Bosa is much bigger than the gap between probably Foye or Devin Lloyd and Fred Warner.
They came out in the same draft, didn't they? Allen and Bosa. I know that there was some people here that it was like the Quinnen Williams, Allen, Bosa. Who should the 49ers take? Most people, I think, with their heads screwed on straight, thought Bosa.
Bosa went for, he went.
There was conversation. There was conversation.
Yeah.
Randall says, thanks again, Jessie, for doing the shows. They're by far my favorite to catch. Thanks to the Jags content creators. We appreciate the insight you provide. Absolutely, Randall. And yes, thank you guys very, very much for joining us. These shows are fantastic. Every week, I love learning about other teams. Tinker says, I'm good with the entire team. All right. He
He,
says
don't,
we're
he
good.
doesn't want any. He doesn't want
He
any.
doesn't want anybody. He doesn't
y'all
care.
Bet.
All right. Now, you guys didn't get Chase Young at the deadline, but you did make a sneaky little deal and brought in Ezra Cleveland. Now, I understand it that Walker Little is still going to continue to start. Ezra, who did start all year for the Vikings, has been like a 4-year starter for them, is going to be a depth piece. Is that the way that you understand it as well? And is Walker Little, is it because he's younger? Is it because he's better? Like what's the thought process there, you think?
Oh man, there's a lot of politics when it comes to our offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Walker Little was the best offensive lineman on the team the first 4 weeks, playing left tackle in place of Cam Robinson, who was suspended.
Yep.
But Cam Robinson coming back, they're not going to ask him to play left guard because they already paid him. They paid him tackle money, so they can't say, hey, man, we're going to need you to be the swing tackle or whatever, or play left guard. He just wouldn't. That's too awkward of a demotion. So that's why Walker Little got moved to left guard, but he's not as good at left guard as he is tackle. But they couldn't put him at right tackle because we just drafted a rookie, Anton Harrison, who is learning the ropes, and he's got to get reps and experience. So Walker Little, probably, I don't know. Cam Robinson brings a different kind of fire.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's on the team, and I'm glad he's starting, obviously. But I think when they want to get all their best linemen out there, it's Cam Robinson at left tackle and Walker Little at left guard, and just take the bumps and bruises with Walker Little playing guard instead of tackle. But I think that gets our best offensive lineman on the field. And Ezra, that makes me feel so good that he's a depth piece now in case anyone. And he can also play tackle.
Because Walker Little has been injured this season already. So, I mean, they missed out on a pass rush. So I guess offensive lineman's the next best thing that we could have did there. But I was excited we did something because I thought we were just going to be sitting on our hands and come out with nothing. But I'll take a depth piece on the offensive line for sure. Just protect our guy, Trevor.
It sounds like Walker Little and Ezra Cleveland can play tackle. So really there's a lot of shuffling they can do. If there's an injury at any of the positions, they can move things around and really put together still an offensive line that can protect your biggest asset, which is Trevor Lawrence. So that's actually a really, really good move because, again, you brought in a starting guard in this league, a decent one in Ezra Cleveland, and now he's just sitting there waiting for an injury to happen, essentially.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable now with our offensive line. Beginning of the season, I was not at all.
But Trent Baalke can't fool us just because he did one move. We still know we need a pass rush. Regardless of us having 13 sacks or whatever, he's probably comfortable with that. I know he made some calls to get a pass rusher and it didn't work out, but it's going to be an issue.
It's going to be an issue in January.
I gotta imagine. I mean, we gave up a comp 3rd-round pick. Even if you just gave up your normal 3rd-round pick, that would have been a higher pick no matter what than a comp. I'm surprised that wouldn't have been offered for Chase Young if it's really that dire straits over there. That's interesting.
There were also more and things that I don't really understand with the Calvin Ridley trade that we did last year. We have to save our 2nd or 3rd rounders just in case we have to give them
because if he plays at a certain level, then you have to give that to the Falcons type of thing.
Something like that. Yeah. So I don't know
that makes sense.
He wasn't able to use all of the picks that we have because of that. So we may have had to have given up a 1st for Chase.
Yeah, which would have made 0 sense. You definitely can't do that. So
especially on his last year. Yeah, that would have been tough. I mean, there are people that were for it. And you could have talked me into it because you have the ability to get to the Super Bowl this year, and it's tough to see that happening with one pass rusher.
Yeah, that definitely makes it a little bit tough. This right here, this question every week, I say it every week, and I'll continue to say it every week. This is my favorite question of each show. because there are players on every single team that is either an up-and-coming player or a player that just kind of came out of nowhere, maybe an older player that just started to ball out, but just a name that most people around the league don't know, but fans of the Jaguars absolutely know who this guy is. San Francisco 49ers last year, I'll give an example. Talanoa Hufanga was that guy. I mean, he came out of nowhere. The first few weeks I was able to talk about it. And then once it was obvious that he was on his way to an all-pro season, people started to take notice a little bit. He has that Palomalo to him a little bit. But for the 49ers this year, I mean, I would say Diamador Lenore still might be that guy. He's our second corner. He's actually probably playing the best out of all the players in the secondary right now. He was a 5th-round pick out of Oregon. So, but every team has these guys that most other people don't know about. Give me a player or two, offense, defense, even special teams, that makes a difference for the Jaguars, or is a player that you're very, very excited about for years to come that most of the league probably isn't aware of if they don't watch Jacksonville.
We probably don't know, do we?
Yeah, Andrew Wingard. I hope he doesn't get as much playing time because I think Cisco's coming back. Mm-hmm. I'll let you go first.
I was going to say a guy we already mentioned, Darius Williams. I feel like he's an under-the-radar guy, even with all the interceptions he has. But he's not like a huge name that a lot of people would know. On the offensive side of the ball, I feel like everybody knows our guys, Ridley, Etienne, Christian Kirk, Ingram.
Yeah.
So I think it's mostly on our defensive side because like nobody's expected our defense to play how they're playing right now. So if it's a player to know, it's going to be the guys on our defense right now, including like the second string guys like Buster Brown, who made the game-winning deflection against the Saints that Jags fans barely even know right now because he hasn't played that much. So if the injuries like happen, it's the NFL, a lot of injuries happen. If they keep happening and these guys are going to have to, fill in, we're going to learn a lot more about the Jags defense depth going forward.
And I kind of wish I didn't bring up Darius Williams earlier because he'd be a perfect player for this segment, just because he's playing so good this season. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? So he would be really the player here. But since I already said him, I'd go Andre Cisco. I expect him to come back from the injury, and I feel like it feels cliche to say he's playing at a Pro Bowl level because I feel like every fan of every team will name someone on their team that's playing at a Pro Bowl level that probably won't make a Pro Bowl. But I think Andre Cisco is playing at that Pro Bowl, maybe even like before his injury, All Pro. He's a ball hawk and he's a hitter and he just plays every pass and the run so well. He's one of our favorite players to watch on defense.
He 2021 draft, right?
I think so. Out of Syracuse.
Yeah. I remember Cisco. Cisco. Yes. No, he was a nice player coming out of college, and I'm glad that he's panned out for Jacksonville because I thought he could be a pretty damn good player. But that's good. Those are good names. You actually, you did cover it pretty well earlier when we were talking about them. Even the linebackers, I still don't. If I went to a bar and asked Niner fans, hey, who do you think the leading tackler in the NFL has been the last couple of years? Nobody would have gotten that right for the most part. Like maybe one or two crazy people, but mostly nobody would have gotten that right. So even giving the leading tackler in the NFL 3 years running, throwing his name out there is a name that most people probably don't even know. So
it's a tough name too. Yeah. It's a tough name to say.
Yeah, it definitely is a tough name to say.
And Foye is just a nickname for his real first name.
Yeah,
which is Foye-san or something.
Yeah, it's something African.
Yeah, Foye-Assad Aluakan or something. Yeah, not very brandable.
Gammon says, "Why does your secondary hold so much? Do you guys get a lot of holding penalties?"
No, we're not getting many penalties this whole season. Great.
Yeah,
Maybe he's saying that they should get holding penalties.
Not holding,
I don't know.
it was not called.
Yeah, they didn't even throw a unsportsmanlike when we took the terrible towels. So
nice. Tinker says, Jesse, as a Jags, Lions, and Niner fan, which of your 3 teams do you like the best? Come on now, 1, 2, 3. It's funny because when I first started this channel, I had one of my best friends. He's a Lions fan. And so he would do Lions content and I did 49er content. And then we would come together once a week and just talk about the NFL. But, the Lions are like, there's just a team that you hope that they're eventually good for their fans' sake, because, oh my gosh, how long can you root for a loser? So I would say, ooh, that's tough. Obviously the Niners, that's like not even close, but 2 and 3. I mean, there was a reason to like the Lions. Barry Sanders is one of my favorite players of all time. Like I said, Mark Brunell. Shoot, Jaguars had a lot of fun players back in the day.
Fred Taylor, Keenan
McCardell. Yeah, you guys had a lot of really, really good players as well.
Rasheed Mathis, Donovan Darius.
I feel like, who was your other receiver? McCardell, and who else? Who was the other one? Jimmy Smith. I knew it was a Smith, and I wanted to say Rod, but that was the Broncos. Yeah,
sorry, I thought he
Jimmy
was
Smith. Hell of a player. I would say over history, I've probably liked more players on the Jags than I have the Lions, but so I would say Jags, I guess. But like I said, it's more of just I like players. It's a funny comment though. I do like that. Cryptic says, Niner fan here. Niners and Jags are known for their running backs. Question for the Jags fan. Etienne, does he have potential to be as loved as MJD and Taylor? Ooh, that's a great question.
It is. I have my
answer. Who do you think is more loved, MJD or Taylor? I would say from an outside perspective, Taylor, but that's maybe you guys think differently.
Fred, oh, man.
That is tough.
The reason why MJD is so loved is because it was him and no one else. He will only carry the team though by himself 09, 10, 11, 12. So it was like a 4-year stretch. Fred Taylor was here from like 97 to like 07, 08. So Fred Taylor I think Fred Taylor is loved more. But MJD has a special place in our heart because when we were had nothing on offense. He won the rushing title 1 year with that. And he put us on a national stage because he was always doing stuff with NFL Network and fantasy football stuff. So MJD definitely has a special place in Jags fans' heart. I think ETN is quite a ways away from hitting that. Plus, ETN's on our team the same time as Trevor Lawrence. Hard to steal the spotlight from him.
Yeah.
They went to college together, at least. They got that going for them.
Yep.
They did, but the quarterback's always going to be number one.
Yeah, I think that's the other part is with MJD, like there was no was no quarterback. It was
Gabbert.
Well, Gabbert, but who was
David Garrard.
David Garrard, that's the one. Yeah, he actually has one of the best. So we were talking I had a show earlier today. We were talking about overrated stats, and one of them was QBR. He has one of the best QBRs of all time for a single season. So
07?
07, yeah.
Yeah.
It was only I think it was a 9 or 11 game season, but yeah, it was one of the best QBRs of all time.
18 touchdowns, like 3 picks or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's the season. You're right. T Moss says on Hood. Is that O'Connell in Jags gear?
On Hood O'Connell.
Which O'Connell? I don't know.
There's a lot of O'Connells.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't know which one.
Sounds like a white name, though, so he's probably talking about me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he definitely was referring to you.
Heaven.
Okay. Give me one thing that must happen for the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game on Sunday. And I'll start from the 49ers side of things. In my opinion, if the 49ers want to win this game, they have to contain Etienne. I know that Lawrence is very, very good. And it's not like I'm saying, hey, we want Lawrence to beat us, because he could probably do that. But I think the 49ers have to make the Jaguars as one-dimensional as possible. And really, one of the issues for the 49ers the last few weeks has been ball control, believe it or not. 49ers haven't ran the ball well. They haven't stopped the run well. And that has to change this week. So they have to get the ball to their offense. They have to control the clock. That starts with Etienne. He's been a hell of a player this year. he can change that game on his own. So I would say containing Travis Etienne has to be priority number one if the 49ers are going to go win this game on Sunday. What do you guys think?
You can go.
Oh, man. I think we got to get up first. With a defense, if you saying all your players are coming back for this game and healthy, I don't see, I shouldn't say this because Trevor's come back before, but that defense is just so stout and they're coming off the 3-game losing streak. I know they're going to be hungry to win a game. So I think the Jags are going to have to come out here and start fast because they've been doing that. They've been doing that well this year. They've been coming out here and getting good leads, but they've been giving them up. So I think if we can get up on you guys, then we'll be okay. But I'm not worried too much about Christian McCaffrey because of our run defense. But I know this is only one answer, so my answer is to start fast.
I like that.
I'm not too, if you ask me this, like in the beginning of the season, I chalked this up as the biggest L, the most guaranteed L. But obviously seeing y'all's struggles the last 3 weeks and how our defense has played, like in the beginning of the season, I thought this was a complete mismatch for our defense. But now I can see how the defense could keep us in this game. So my concern mainly is on the offense. And I'll say basically what has troubled us a lot of the season is us converting in the red zone, or at least when we cross the 50. We can't have mistakes that take points off the board, like drive stalling before we get in field goal range or turnovers in the red zone. So I think once we cross the 50, what is our efficiency there? I think that is something that we have to do. We have to be efficient and keep drives going after we cross the 50. If you look at what we did versus Steelers, we had like one play that we got sacked, knocked us out of field goal range, had the punt. Another play where Trevor threw an interception, terrible interception in the end zone when we were inside the red zone.
On 1st and goal.
Yeah.
And
that's
then the worst.
Another time where we fumbled on a cute little trick shovel pass play when we're inside the red zone. So that's 14, possibly like 14 to 17 points that we missed out on. Cannot happen versus this team. So that's what I'll go with.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I know that earlier in the season, it seems like it's cleaned up a little bit, but I felt like going back and watching some of the Jags games, there was a ton of drops by the receivers. I mean, Lawrence would put it on the money. Even in the end zone, there would be drops in the end zone. Ridley, Kirk, everybody, they were just dropping passes out of nowhere, dimes, wide open, and drop. So I don't know if that was like an early season issue. Yeah, there you go. That one too. But there was a span where there wasn't a lot of touchdowns being thrown by Lawrence. And I think people who weren't watching the games were like, oh, he's not having that good of a season. It's like, well, he's actually been really on the money, but the drops have been out of control. Like, what is he supposed to do? Catch the ball too? So I felt like that was an issue as well. Do you feel like that's been cleaned up, or am I blowing that out of proportion? I just feel like there was a ton of drops coming from y'all early in the season.
It's been better recently, but in the beginning of the season, yeah, it was pretty bad. And then I said Chiefs game because that was the worst one. Calvin Ridley had uncharacteristic drops, which made you like, what is going on? He wants to be our number one receiver, and he's dropping these balls versus the Chiefs. But yeah, since he got into the league, it feels like Trevor has. I think it is a real stat, leads the league in receivers dropping balls. So yes, that is not just a perception; it is definitely reality.
Maybe he's so accurate that the receivers are in shock because they haven't played with anybody this well.
There you go. Yeah. The worst place to be hit with the ball is directly in your freaking hands. Totally get it. Golly, man. Tinker says to win, the Jags must score. He has the 49ers winning 17-0. If the 49ers shut out the Jags after all the talk of the defense being down this year, that would be an incredible thing. That is not going to happen. I do not see that happening. Although I do think, obviously there's a path to victory. Speaking of a path to victory, let's just get down to it. Let's get down to the score prediction. This one's interesting to me because the 49ers are favored in this game, and I don't think that they should be. I think they're 2.5-point favorites. Both teams coming off of a bye. 49ers have 3 straight losses. Jacksonville's the hottest team in the league. And then traveling from west to east coast, I think that this game might be more important for the 49ers, but I don't think that they should be favorites at all. I actually think that that's a little bit disrespectful to what the Jacksonville Jaguars have been, and kind of playing on the talent in San Francisco. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not putting it together, it doesn't really matter. In the last 3 weeks, the 49ers have put losing football on film, and I think Jacksonville having 2 weeks to prepare for that definitely has the recipe to go win this game. So I think Jacksonville should be favored. That being said, I am not picking the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. I think it's going to be very close. I could see the Jaguars definitely winning. Much different game than when I was there last time where it was all 49ers. I think this game's tight. I'm going to go 27-24 San Francisco 49ers. What is your guys' score prediction?
You got a Jake Moody game-winning field goal?
Listen. If it comes down to Jake Moody to win this game, I don't feel great about it. Okay, I don't feel. How's your kicker? Can we ask about your kicker? Is he good?
He's amazing.
Okay.
It's Brandon
Brandon
McManus from the Broncos.
Oh, I remember McManus. Yes. Oh my. Yes, he is amazing. He's got a leg too. Golly.
I feel like he hasn't missed all season.
I don't think he has.
You just jinxed him. Remember this moment. Remember this moment on Sunday.
No, the broadcast will do it for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, he won AFC Special Teams Player of the Month for October.
Perfect.
But yeah, he's been a great addition. Seems like once we get within like 55 yards, it's like, all right, we're good for a field goal here, which Doug probably doesn't like because he loves going for it on 4th down. But have you picked the Niners every game so far this year?
I've been a homer like crazy in the last.
Fair. You have a great team, so
yeah. Here's the thing. Okay. So when they were winning, once they beat Dallas, I said I cannot pick against the 49ers until they lose, and then they lost to the Browns, and it was like, okay, like you could kind of see that coming, but there was no way I wasn't gonna pick them to lose against Minnesota. And honestly, I will say this: my heart picked the 49ers last week. My head said that the Bengals were going to win that game. I felt like the Bengals coming off of a bye, that was the one game where I'm like, I really should have picked against the 49ers if I was going to do it. This week with the 49ers coming off a bye and everybody being healthy, my head actually does say 49ers. Last week, my head 100% said the Bengals. And in fact, I said all the way leading up to the show that I was going to pick the Bengals, and then I chickened out and I picked the 49ers. What are you going to do?
I'm normally not a homer, but I have to be just because I just want to be right. Coming 5 straight wins, the team has earned my respect and has earned my fandom.
It is fair to pick them. Yes, go ahead.
I just can't. I can't do that to him. So I will pick probably a very similar score to yours. But I'm hoping we cross. I think we have to cross that 30 threshold to win. So I'd say something like 30 to 28, which would just make my heart leap out of my chest if that's the case. So yeah, I'll do like a high scoring affair.
I like it.
I'm scared that if this is a game where Purdy has time to throw to your weapons, that it could be ugly. And we're going to have to match your scores, and playing from behind, that could come with a lot of mistakes. That being said, I'm also not going to pick against the hot 5 game-winning streak Jags, but I don't think anybody's going to be blown out here. I think these are 2 very good teams right now in the NFL. And Vegas spread, they know what they're doing out there. So I'm going to go 28-27 Jags.
God, that's even worse.
Oh, I like it. We've all got a close game. So that means a blowout's going to happen one way or another. Yeah, we're definitely getting this wrong. That's almost a guarantee.
Or maybe 10-7.
Yeah. There you go. 10-7. Exactly. Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun game. I think for the 49ers, this is if the 49ers want any chance at the number 1 seed, they have to win this game. They cannot.
That's how we feel too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's really on the line. I think the 49ers, if one team is more quote unquote desperate, it would be the 49ers coming off of 3 losses. But really, the number 1 seed is on the line, and both these teams are fighting for it in their conference. So this is important for both these teams. I think we're going to get a really good game here. You guys are going to go to the game, correct?
Yes, we'll be there.
Have a hell of a time. If I wasn't going to Levi Stadium the following week, I definitely would have been there. I think I enjoyed my last trip to Jacksonville. Fans there were great. Everybody was super nice.
Wow.
I enjoyed it.
It might be. We're.
You said there's some good people in it, because I feel like we're probably one of the meanest fan bases.
I think it's changed. I think it changed a lot this year, just because
confidence. You think like the team's good, so like the fans that are like rowdy are showing up again, type thing.
Yeah. But I do still think that you'll have at least 20,000. God, that seems like so much.
Yeah, I know.
20,000 fans. Good Lord. I think maybe 15, maybe like 15,000. But I just have memories from last time when you guys were there. It was nearly half the stadium. But you guys were on a roll. We sucked. There was no reason to go to a Jags game, so I can see why. So I'm hoping that a lot of Jags fans were a little reluctant or hard pressed to sell their ticket this time around. I was going to ask you, what do you think? Do you buy into the Niners have to play at 1 p.m. so their body clock is at 10 a.m. that I've heard spewed on Twitter and TV? Does that? I don't.
I do too. I would say here's actually what I said earlier on my show this morning, which was if this game was being played without a bye week, I would have picked Jacksonville. But because the 49ers have the bye week and they're able to get healthy, I'm picking the 49ers. The bye week is crucial in all of this. If this was a west to east without a bye week in a 10 a.m. body clock game, I definitely would have picked Jacksonville. So I actually do buy into that when there's no rest in between. But the rest this way is I mean, they're going to be totally fine. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
Tinker says, I have the magazine from Back to the Future, and it's 17-0 49ers, and then the Seahawks. All right. If it's 17-0, Tinker, then I don't know what I'll do, but I definitely owe you something. I'll figure something out.
Hey, we owe you something too.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I want to give a shout out to Dunn and Drew. The link to their channel is in the description. You guys know exactly what to do. Go subscribe to their channel. Show them love. Even if it means the 49ers win and you go in the chat afterwards and talk a little trash.
We love that.
I'm sure they will take any sub that they can get, any view that they can get. These guys do really good content, and it's unique. Not like most other people. They've got the duo. They're in the same room, which is kind of cool as well. I don't know how you guys make that happen all the time, but it's a nice little setup there. They do a very, very good job on their channel. So make sure that you go check them out. Show them love. They just gave us almost an hour of their time. The least you can do is go show them a sub. Link is in the description of the channel. Dunn, Drew, thank you guys so much. Thank you. Everybody in the chat, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Peace.
See you, Tinker.
Peace.